Rwanda-backed M23 rebels have strolled through the streets of the second largest city in the east, Bunia. However, President Felix Tshisekedi's office claimed the city is still controlled by his army. Meanwhile, Uganda affirmed the news, saying its troops have taken control of security in the city of Bunia, working with Congolese forces. Bunia is the capital of the Ituri province, where Uganda has already had thousands of troops under an agreement with Kinshasa. They operate alongside DRC forces against the Allied Democratic Forces. This latest jarring move from the leader has fueled a sense of worry and panic in the capital, Kinshasa. For more on this discussion, we are joined by Dr. Tolit Aditya, an African affairs expert located in Uganda, and we're also joined by Lydie Mungal, chair of the Youth and Peace Security Coalition, DRC, located in Bukavu. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. Dr. Tolit Aditya, I was wondering, what are the primary objectives of the M23 rebels, and what do you think will be movements we'll be seeing from them in the coming weeks?
Very much, and up to now, as you stated, the very clear goal or objective of M23 doesn't seem to be known, because other than the military wing that is much more pronounced and prominent, the political wing doesn't seem to be very obvious. We do not know exactly who is speaking for them, apart from the fact that we know that the former chairperson of the Electoral Commission of DR Congo in the last elections defected from Kinshasa, took short refuge in Nairobi, where he announced that he was linking up with the M23. Otherwise, in general, the situation of Congo, of M23 and Congo in general, presents a very difficult geopolitical situation in the region, because as you see, it has sucked in a lot of countries. Uganda is in there. We learned from a Twitter communication from the chief of defense forces of Uganda that Ugandan troops had taken over Bunia. In terms of geographical proximity, Bunia is not very far from Uganda. And Rwanda is into this conflict. They have continued to deny support for the M23, but the UN experts insist. And you can also see that from the nature of operation of M23, it's just not a ragtag army. They are moving with precision and military doctrine. They are very well dressed. This time round, yes, because this is not the very first time they are taking over Goma. They have done that before, but the first time they didn't even hold ground for 3 days. This time they have held ground and they have moved on. Now they're in Bukavu and neighboring towns. So it looks like they are marching towards Kinshasa. Now that really complicates the situation.
Yes, I wanted to bring in Lydie Mungal next. Lydie, you are located in Bukavu. I was wondering what the feeling is around the city, and what are the primary objectives that you've been hearing from the M23 rebels?
Thank you so much. So far, we have got mixed feelings. I don't know if you have seen some videos, you could see that some citizens were actually clapping hands when the M23 entered Bukavu, which was the second city to fall, like the second major city after Goma to fall under the hands of the M23. But there are also some concerns in terms of security, but also with the people themselves, because we have seen that some army personnel have been fleeing the cities. As we are talking, we have seen the kids, the children of the military taking up what their parents had left behind, the arms, the uniforms. They were wearing those uniforms. And those are the kids who created some chaos. Before even M23 entered the city. There was some looting of shops, of markets that we have observed in the city. And it was mostly said that it was the M23, which was not true, because the M23 only came later And later, when they entered the city, people had to tell them actually where those children were hiding. And because the children were in possession of the arms, what had happened is those children were creating chaos around the city. So when the M23 had to come in, they were shown where the children were hidden, and then they had to go and start firing because they were exchange of firing.
Lydia, I was wondering, obviously the reports were saying that the M23 rebels strolled into the city and didn't meet with any resistance. What's the general feeling about them all? Yes.
Yes, I think the resistance did not come in because already there were some coming in. In fact, the civil society that called the government not to resist the movement when they come in. And then there were also different organizations that joined the civil society saying, yeah, we think mainly the Catholic Church through their bishop that say now we think it's not a good idea to resist the M23 when they come in the city, because we had already seen what had happened in Goma. They were up for now. I think the UN has said that we have got up to 3,000 people who died. So it was not really a good idea, because also knowing that our military were underarmed, like in terms of equipment, they were not well equipped, because we have also to mention that in the previously what had happened is Goma was considered as the major center, and as a result, most of the equipment, most of the soldiers, even the external troops, they were mostly located in Goma. And when Goma had fallen and we saw some soldiers like running away, it means they left also a number of equipment behind them. And that also made, this is my own reading of the story, the advancement also a bit difficult. Yeah, and Bukavu also, when we heard that the M23 were marching towards Bukavu, what's happened is in Kavumu, for instance, there was some burning of the ammunition, like where the FRDC were keeping their ammunition and equipment. They had to burn that out. So which means basically there were nothing to remain with. So as a result, we could not resist. And then the soldiers had just to surrender.
Yes. Dr. Tolit, I wanted to just come to you lastly quickly. Obviously, you have other nations involved in this. Rwanda-backed the M23 rebels, but they do deny these claims as well. You also have Ugandan forces in the east as well. How likely is the risk of this conflict escalating into a larger regional war involving neighboring countries?
I think the question of the war escalating and involving the other countries is no longer a question of debate. It's now the question, the better question is to what extent of involvement. Because, I mean, Uganda already has troops, and which it has not denied, inside the Congo, and also troops in the Congo before with another arrangement. Rwanda, although they denied, there is every footprint that they have troops in the Congo. Now, the actual debacle here is that the Kinshasa government is being supported by by SADC countries led by South Africa. And there has been a war of words, if you like, between President Ramaphosa and President Kagame of Rwanda. So there is already a war of words. There is already a present situation of conflict, of war. So all that we are left to see is full escalation. And in my estimate, that is not going to take very long, because at the moment, this conflict is now at a curve of violence. Those who agreed to fight are actually in the theater and are fighting. And I don't see any political situation curbing this down. By the time the commanders are called off the front lines, a lot of damage would have happened. So we actually have a war at our doorstep.
Dr. Tolit Atitia and Lydie Mungal, thank you very, very much for joining us.